My young athletes, my football players out there, man. Welcome to the very first episode of Apollo Sports Counseling Incorporated TV YouTube Talk, man. I am Bryan Armstead.
Hey, I'm Jelani Sutton.
Absolutely, man, and we are very, very excited to have you guys with us today. Today we're going to talk about stress, man. It's a lot of stress that athletes go through, and in particular football players, because there's so many things you got to do with between those lines and between those hedges. From this end zone to that end zone, everything that happens in between is like a puzzle that you have to figure out in order to win games and put up numbers, create championships, things that are expected of you, all of that, man. So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to tackle it. Jelani here played football. That was him. That was his world. That was his life, man.
Hey, what I want to just expound on is that stress in athletes, especially young athletes, is prevalent. And we have to put things in place to be able to help us. And we have to put all those things and factor them all into one to stay focused in terms to making our situation better, to getting an end result. It starts with simple things. There's some of the things, common things that you already know, like diet, proper rest, mental self-care, the physicality about having a self-care, a decent diet. All those little things are very important and pertinent in your day-to-day routine to be successful in this thing of football.
Absolutely. And first we're going to start off with what stress actually is from a scientific definition standpoint. So stress is pressure and it's just everything that's exerted, and tension also, that's exerted on a specific object. Now in this case, the object is the athlete. It's you guys. It's you guys out there, because there's so many things, like I said before, that you have to deal with, not only on the field, what happens in between the end zones, but outside of the field as well. There's plenty of examples. I like to use the example of when I was at Morehouse and I did work with the community at Morehouse in terms of, just the West End community, and you take the average athlete there, the person who goes to a Washington high school, or the person that goes to a Doug high school, or any high school on the west side of Atlanta by Morehouse, right, or the AU Center in general. And these athletes, they go through a bunch of things off the field concerning family issues at home. Your dad if he's in your life, he's on drugs, or he's selling drugs, or he's working a bunch of jobs. If your mother's alive, she's either sick or she's working a bunch of jobs to keep the lights on in the house to feed you and your younger siblings. And then you have to go to school and act like nothing's happening.
So you speaking on the fact of shedding a block.
Absolutely. Shedding
a block. Something that from a defensive mentality is getting over that barrier. Mm-hmm. Keeping it in front of you, but removing it out of your way, so that you can move forward in your life. And those certain barriers are very pertinent in life, and it keeps us in a ditch where that we can't move forward. So in order for us to be our best self, we have to take some of those smaller things and work towards these little baby steps in terms to bettering our situation, so that we can be motivated on a daily, so we can stay mentally able and capable to be able to design a plan to move forward.
Absolutely. And I think that it's not just, stress has this certain stereotype of always being negative. There are two types of stress. You have eustress, which is good stress. Eustress would be examples, for example, just working out. Right, working out is something that can get you better, but it's still the stress of you lifting that bar up. Right, the stress of you going to a workout, the stress of you finishing that extra mile, that extra lap, that extra sprint. In practice. I think also in terms of doing your homework. Knowing that you have an assignment due. Right, that's just something that can get you better, but it's still the stress of you knowing that you have got to turn this assignment in before the deadline is up. You think about the bad stresses, right? You have distress. Distress is, for example, going through a breakup. Right, going through a breakup, or being sick, or anything that's negative, that's a detriment in your life and not a positive in your life.
So this is like reading your keys as a defensive lineman, as a linebacker, knowing your gaps, knowing your assignments. These things, these intangibles, if we make our wrong decision and not read things appropriately, it turns out to be a bad play. Mm-hmm. So we have to, again, work towards being able to fill those gaps and fill those holes so that we can just funnel things down so that we can have a good day. And that looks like this. In order to have a stressless day, we have to get proper rest. We have to have a perfect, proper, balanced meal. We have to be mentally capable of making the right decisions in life. And how we do that is by putting ourselves and surrounding ourselves around things that keep us positive and focused on the task at hand. What do you think about that?
No, that's actually very, very true. Very true. It's about preparing yourself. You know, stress is all about preparation at the end of the day. Because if you're not prepared, absolutely you're going to feel stressed out. Because you have to then rush yourself to be prepared in that short amount of time. So when you talk about getting sleep, right, just like Jelani said, you got sleep, you got your diet, you have a host of other things that you have to prepare yourself for in order to be successful in that day. The high school I went to by the name of Shiloh High School, our slogan for the football team used to be win the day. And that's what you want to do. But winning the day starts not on that day, but the day before. Starts the day before. So when you're practicing, have that in mind. Have that in mind. Now, stress has different lengths to it as well. It's not just one stress has all types of length. Stress have different type of length as well. So you have acute stress, right? Acute stress is it's very brief. Very brief. So, for example, it could be that you got in an argument, you missed a tackle. You know, Jelani played running back. He can expound on this, but in terms of you know, not getting the first down and stuff like that. So,
well, as like you said, not getting the first down, and the first down is just homing in on the reality fact of what is the ultimate goal, our ultimate goal, and we have to set those goals up on a daily regimen in our lives, so that we can work towards those things on a daily. And just like Bryan stated, is just like running the ball, seeing the hole, getting through the hole, and making that first cut and getting out of there. You know, I use that analogy is because the fact that in life we have to use certain things to try to better ourselves in our daily habits. And sometimes we shy away from those things because the fact that we're not mentally stable or prepared for the pounding, the rigors on a day-to-day.
That's a good one.
And when you're not mentally prepared to put that work in on a daily, sometimes it stops us. And sometimes our bodies say no. And that comes from stress. Stress will tell you, it will shut your body down, it will shut you down. And it shuts you down in more ways than one. Mentally, physically, emotionally, it burdens you and it drops you.
So when you think about, you know, in terms of your body, right, and your body shutting down, you want to listen to your body. Listen to your body, but most importantly, listen to your mind, because the mind is going to tell the body how it feels. So it's important that you listen to your mind. All right. If you feel some stress coming on, all right. If you feel like the world is coming down on you, listen to that. Don't put it off. Don't put it off. All right. There's this slogan in sports that I've heard when I was growing up, and I know Jelani's heard it growing up, and it's no pain, no gain.
Yeah.
All right. No pain, no gain. But listen to yourself. Know your limits. I'm not saying don't go out there and push yourself, because as an athlete and as a man in our culture, you push yourself.
So tell me this, Bryan. Is stress a good behavior or a bad behavior?
It could be both. It could be both, because you could have, again, going back to distress and eustress, right? You could have stress where it's almost like trauma. It's relative, right? If you have trauma of you going to the stove and you touching that stove as a child, you burn your hand. When you get older, you're not going to go back and do what? You're not going to touch that stove, right? That's the good trauma.
Okay.
Obviously, the bad trauma is the negative things. You have a relative that was shot down, or you have somebody that died. That's that trauma. But stress is the same thing, though, right?
Okay.
You can have a bad stress. You can have a bad stress where you miss a tackle, right? In this point, acute, which is a very brief type of stress, you could have that where you miss a tackle, and then the next day. I know right now we're in the social media era where social media is king right now. So the next day, or really that night after the game, you getting dogged out on Twitter. You getting dogged out on Instagram. These guys are in high school. They 14 to 18. It's no telling what they're going through when they look at their IG. You know, but at the same time, you can have the good stress. And I like to say this too, in terms of a good stress for a high school football player. The good stress is signing day.
Man.
That's the good stress, because that's when you got to decide on whether you're going to Florida, you're going to Georgia, you're going to Miami, you're going to USC, wherever.
So that comes with, after all the work that you done put in for 4 years, and the dedication and the commitment and the hard work and the payout at the end of the day is signing day.
Absolutely.
I can feel that. I understand. I know a little bit about that. It feels good.
Yeah, you know, Jelani went to Grambling, so I mean, D1 school right there.
Yeah.
Played for Coach Eddie Robb.
Yeah, hey, that's what it do. So, you know, but I'm going to say this, though. I'm going to come from another level in terms of bad stress. And I know we probably don't think about this, but we have to think about it. In this day and age, the body is different. Science is different. How the makeup of our body is different. And the genetics in our bodies and our families' bodies are different. Our mothers and our fathers. And we don't keep up with knowing what's going on with our parents, health-wise. And sometimes it transfers to us. So I'm gonna speak from a sense where that I know. Strokes.
Wow. Yeah. Absolutely.
A stroke. A stroke is nothing but a high level of stress. A stroke is very deadly. And if you don't take care of yourself in the right capacity, these things could happen. And it comes from an array of things outside of just dieting and things like that. But we also can prevent those things by doing the most important thing is keeping ourselves in front of a doctor. Asking our parents more so about their health and what's going on with them, and understand the history of the family so that we can know what's going on. That's something that we don't talk about in the round table. We don't know what our mother and our father and their lineage, what was going on with them. And this is some of those conversations that we need to know and learn about ourselves, because we can better prepare for it and we can better help ourselves to try to curb those things from happening with us.
You got it. It's all about knowledge. You know, just having that knowledge.
And that's the key thing, man.
Right. And many times people perish not because they don't know how to do something, but they don't know what to do, because they're ignorant. They have a lack of knowledge.
So how do we get that? How do we get more knowledge?
I think it's about conversation and just being abreast. Right.
So how do we have the conversation? How do we have that conversation with teenagers at the ages of 15 to 18 in a high school setting that does nothing, like Fortnite, NFL football, Madden, NBA, you know, that's all we like. And how can we have those dialogues about real life situations and get them more attuned in and abreast of what's going on, whether they can hold this conversation and me and you can sit back and get educated off of it. How we do that?
So here's the thing. I'm going to look into the camera when I say this too.
Okay.
You eat to live. You don't live to eat. Okay, you eat to live. What I mean by that is this. Food is your vitamin. Food is your vitamin. Whatever you eat, you will turn into. Okay? You eat from the ground. That's a good checkpoint for you. If you don't know how to eat from the ground. Protein is made from the ground. Everyone wants to say, go eat chicken. It's protein.
So processed food is not good.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Packed food, processed food,
absolutely
not good. So we need to take more of a holistic approach.
Right. And I'm gonna say this as well. I was watching a TED Talk, right, and it was talking about your diet. It was speaking more so from an athletic standpoint in terms of what do athletes eat? How can an athlete create more energy for him or herself, right, to produce and put up numbers on the field? Okay. What the doctor said was this. He said that food and fat cells and sickness work hand in hand, because the sickness cells are stored up in the fat. The sickness cells are stored up in the fat. That means that whatever food makes you fat is also making you what? Sick. So the more fattening foods you eat, the sicker you'll be, and the sicker you are, the less numbers you can put up on the field. The less numbers you put up on the field, the less of your chances of getting to that next level.
So what you saying, like stuff like sugar?
Absolutely.
White products, white bread, white flour, all those things. Sugar, high pop, fructose, all those things. That stuff is one of the key elements and detriments for our youth is because we are consuming a lot of it. And we're not consuming a lot of water, enough water. We are afraid of water, but we embrace those things that's brightness, like things that's yellow, got acid in it, high levels of sugar, yellow greens, anything with color. I think that they say like even in the wilderness and things like that, like frogs. There are certain types of animals out there or species like frogs and lizards and things like that that have this high vibration of color on them. They're toxic. But when we see them, we want to grab
it. To it.
Yeah, we're attracted to it.
Hey guys, I'm not saying I want you guys to understand, right? We're not getting off topic of stress. We're telling you these things because when you're under stress, you're quick to grab something quick and easy.
Bad decisions.
Fast food, right? Microwave food, packaged foods. When you're under a lot of stress, you want to feel some sort of comfort. So you eat what's called comfort foods. You eat the ice creams. You eat the hot dogs. You eat the things that are quick to make, right? Nothing that's quick is good. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say that again. Nothing that is quick is good because you have to go through some type of process to get to that end result. So when you talk about food, if food is quick to consume and it's not grown out of the ground, it's not good for you, right? But I'm telling you this because when you're stressed out, we have a tendency, and not just you guys, people as a whole have a tendency of going toward what's quick, right? What's quick, so it's stress can do a multitude of things for you and very subliminally to where you don't even understand what you're doing, right? You're just doing it because you're reacting. We are reactive people, all right? We have what's called habits, all right? So just watch your habits. Now, when you think about the second part, you have episodic acute stress. And what that is if we want to think about, it's kind of like the meso side of stress. So micro, I would say, would be acute, right? I would say meso would be episodic acute. And what that is if you
why don't you explain to them what is micro and what is meso?
Okay, so micro,
because they probably don't understand that.
Right. Micro is the small side of things. Meso is the medium side. I like to think about them as sizes, right? So micro would be small, meso would be medium, and then you have the macro, which is the large. All right. So for example, if I want to say it from a school point of view, I would say the student would be the micro part, right? That would be the micro. The team will be the meso in the entire school because it's a part of the team is a part of the school. The school will be the macro. All right.
Correct.
So when you think about an acute would be the micro. That means that's that running back that's not getting that first down. That's the stress that he's under. That one possession, he didn't get that first down. So that's the running back. Now when you think about it from the episodic, it's a little bit bigger than the acute. Sorry about that. And it's the game, right? You're having a bad game. So that's the acute episodic that you could go through.
Well, I think that it's a lot of information that we just share with them. Mm-hmm. I think that we should just do a small debriefing of everything and just trying to sum it up for them all in one in regards to what we was talking about and discussing about stress. Stress is real.
Absolutely.
Stress is a game changer in a bad way. And we have to pay respect to it, and we have to respect it or it'll make you respect it.
And see, stress, the number one part of stress that people tend to cling on to and know about is chronic. Chronic is the last part. So you have acute, you have episodic acute, you have chronic. Guys, have a great season. All right. Again, this is Apollo Sports Counseling Incorporated. I'm Bryan.
Hey, I'm Jelani.
Y'all be blessed. Hey, through it all, win.